yourself. There's no turnover in the Commissioners Court. It won't reduce turnover. And one other item, you doubled the reserve in the budget from what it was last year. I've seen no justification and no reason for that. I believe you owe that to the citizens before that's passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Taft.
My name is Laura Taft, and basically I came to say ditto, ditto, ditto. What appears to me, from what I see from your pay raise, your actions, to me appear foolish, and you're ahead of your time, your tenure. I'm just discouraged by the lack of leadership in this process.
Thank you, Ms. Taft. Sharon Guthrie.
Hello, I'm Sharon Guthrie, and I made some notes this morning. You've obviously seen me once this morning. I believe the tax rate is almost 3 cents per $100 evaluation raise, and I'm just wondering, and I realize that you cannot address me, but I would like to see an explanation of how the budget that you have come up with lines up with the roadmap business plan. And we have heard nothing about in the paper or in the media about how you are putting that into effect as to the budget and to whether you are working on making this county economically sound and fiscally sound. The second thing I wanted to ask about are, we've had a lot of rainfall in this spring, and obviously a lot of roads washed out, a lot of bridges need to be replaced, and my concern is that you've already raised the tax rate, or plan to, and what does our infrastructure look like? Have we upped the road and bridge department? Are they going to get several more million? Because obviously the county is responsible for those rural roads, and I'm sure that people want to see their roads repaired. And so I do have some concern about the road and bridge department. Third thing are, again, the salaries. And I read where not only are y'all receiving massive raises, but you're adding a position in the county judge's office. And so I would like to see a justification for another full-time position in your office when you're getting such a high dollar raise. Fourth is, if you pass this budget with these enormous raises, I do believe that you are going to damage your credibility beyond repair as far as passing a jail bond issue. I realize there are other ways around a bond issue, and I also am aware that voters can also change that course. So I hope and pray that you will reconsider the enormous raises that you've given yourselves, and think about the county first. Roads and bridges, a jail that is, there's no doubt we need a jail, but I believe that what you're doing is hurting that credibility and getting one passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guthrie. Howard Beggs.
My name is Howard Beggs. I live in Glendale, and I'm here to speak about the raises. First, I want to say I totally agree with the proposed raises for the professional employees of the county, and I have no problem with that. And if you could separate that out from the raises that you're giving yourselves, then I've got no problem whatsoever. But as far as you giving yourself raises, you've essentially given two justifications for these raises. One was that it would prevent turnover in the county employees. And I agree with this when it comes to the salaried and ordinary working employees. So that might be a good idea to prevent that turnover. But as far as turnover among elected officials, that is decided by the voters. And I can predict that if you accept these huge raises, there's going to be a tremendous turnover when you come up for election. And the other thing that you just give to justify these raises, or that Smith County Commissioners' salaries are generally lower than the salaries of other county commissioners. But what you're doing here is comparing apples and oranges, because in most other counties, the commissioners take care of the roads and bridges in their own districts. And so they've got, have to spend a lot more time and put out a lot more effort than you do. I'm not even sure that a county commissioner in this county is a full-time job, because most of you do have other sources of income, such as maintaining your law practice, and some of you have businesses on the side. So as many people and almost everybody that talks about this has pointed out, you knew what the job paid before you ran for the office. And if it was not sufficient for you, you shouldn't have run for that office. Because there are plenty of people, other people, just as well qualified, who would do the job for that salary. As a matter of fact, there are some people who would do it for half that salary, and I can wager that there are some retired people who would do the job for nothing. So you people are not that valuable. And one other thing that I know that you can't do this, but you should let the voters decide. It appears that 3 of you are in favor of giving yourselves these huge raises. 1 is against it, and I applaud her with every effort that she's making to keep this from happening. And 1 won't even commit. So I can tell you that if you don't I don't know if it's legal to place this question on the ballot or not and let the voters decide, but if you don't, as several people have already pointed out, it's going to be reflected in the vote for or against the bond issue. And many people are upset over this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beggs. Bob Myers.
I perceive what you call a budget as proposed expenditures, not a budget that you're trying to stay within or under. You're not talking about a budget. You're talking about fixed expenditures. And I worked in the general public for over 50 years. I have yet to have the one that paid my salary to ask me if I wanted to vote for a raise. That's kind of unusual. I'd say, well, yeah, I've always felt I was worth more than what I was being paid. I think it's preposterous what you're doing. And it should be on a voter referendum and not left up to you to decide.
Thank you, sir. Dean Blanton.
My name's Dean Blanton. I addressed this court the last time when you had a jail bond referendum, and at that time I didn't know it was going to fail, but it did, and I was against it at that time. Can I address the jail project at this time, or is that out of bounds?
Go ahead, sir.
My